Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another client success interview. Today we have Matt Arnold in the beginning, who has seen some pretty massive success over the last few years. He's got some big changes coming up, crushed his season in bodybuilding last year. His social medias have been popping off, just bought himself a new car, hitting, 20, 30K months, and now is about to leave San Diego, move to Texas and pursue his career even further. So I kind of want to just bring him on, bring everybody up to speed on his journey, and also just share advice for people who are looking to get started with social media, because I know that Matt had taken a traditional approach, going to college, getting a degree, getting a job, and then making a pivot into starting his own online business. So Matt, welcome in. Why don't you give everybody a little bit of an intro as to who you are and what your life looks like right now?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, Zach. So I'm originally from Los Angeles. When I graduated from high school there, I moved to San Diego. I graduated from San Diego State University. I initially studied kinesiology because I wanted to be a personal trainer or a physical therapist. But, coming from a fairly conservative background, my parents really pushed something practical. I didn't foresee myself going to college beyond my bachelor's degree. So to be a physical therapist, like an athletic trainer for like big sports teams, it requires a master's degree essentially. So I went business just because it's very universal. You can use it for a lot of things. I graduated, worked at a tax firm for about a year, and that's when COVID hit. And I was studying for the CPA simultaneously. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a CPA. I wanted to do like auditing at a big four accounting firm. I just had like this realization. I got laid off. Nothing was really working out. So I think it was kind of a sign for me to just like, do something different. And I was just like, I've been doing bodybuilding since I was 15. So I'm passionate about. I said, fuck it. I'm going to start a new social media account. And that was about 3 years ago. I started this account just because I wanted to compete and I wanted to share my progress in the sport of bodybuilding. And after my first show, I had so many people hit me up for coaching. I started my business about 2.5 years ago. Didn't really charge much, to be honest, because I was still working. I was working doing sales for a medical software company, and I was training on the side. I was doing well. I enjoyed what I was doing. And it got to the point, I remember I told you, it got to the point where I was like, fuck, I could quit my job. I had about 30 clients, and yeah, I quit my job. Ever since then, everything's just kind of been exponentially growing. Last year was a good year. I mean, it was tough to start off, you know how it works.
Mm-hmm.
I lived in Bali for 3 months last year, which was a little bit of a setback, but it was a dope experience for
Yeah,
sure.
that's definitely something we'll dive into. Definitely want to talk about Bali because I'm kind of getting my travel bug out this year. But let's kind of rewind back a little bit. It sounds like you had some pretty heavy influence from your parents and your family. And from what I know of you and your story, I know that that's the case. When your parents said like, "Hey, you need to do this in college, you need to do this, you need to go get this job," what was going on in the back of your mind? Was that something that you were subscribing to, or did you want to do those things, or in the back of my mind, did you think like, I'm just going to do it just in spite and eventually do my own thing? What was the plan there?
That goes pretty deep just because I have three siblings. I'm the youngest of four. My sister's a nurse. My brother becomes a medical doctor
Wow,
on Friday from UCLA.
that's
And my
crazy.
other brother is a chemical engineer. I was always kind of like, I made a post about this, but kind of like the black sheep of my family. I was always getting in trouble. I was always like experimenting like different things. I actually lost my father when I was 20 years old. I was a sophomore in college. I went through kind of a dark path in college. I was doing a lot of drugs, drinking a lot. And when I graduated, I kind of just had this realization, my dad was a healthy guy. He was smart. He worked behind a desk, worked out frequently, and just freak accident happened. And he just, passed away. That in conjunction with both my parents, particularly my mom, really pushing me towards a safe route. Like you pick a profession, you stick with that, and you progress. You climb up the corporate ladder. That's just like how my parents were. That's how they were raised. And I said, fuck that. I'm doing my own thing.
It's paid off for you in a big way. But were you worried about losing the support of your parents? Because I know for myself, part of the reason why I stayed in that system for so long, or on that path, going to college, getting a job, was because I was a little bit afraid of losing the support of my parents, when in reality, they were holding me back more than anything. And as soon as I was able to kind of break free of those expectations, I was really able to grow my own personal and my business. And then their support never went anywhere. It turns out that they just wanted what was best for me. And the only thing they knew what was best for me was what they thought was best for me. How did you go about having that moment where you're like, you know, screw this, I'm going to go do my own thing and don't care what happens?
Yeah, so my mom was pretty upset, of course, and she didn't think it would work out. And my mom is super fixated on money and making sure like I'm financially okay to basically back up everything. Because she always drills me like, save your money, Matthew. Like, you don't have a 401k, you don't have all the benefits of
Yeah.
a corporation. So all I do is just show her my bank account, how much I made, and then she shuts up.
Yep. Yeah. I got to that point too with my parents. I'm at the point I don't
That's
even.
just how my mom works.
Yeah.
She's so fixated on money.
I love it, man.
Yeah.
Was it nerve-wracking at all to go from, you know, your full-time job going over into your own business? Was that, you know, was there any challenges there, or would you say it was a breeze for you?
Yeah, there were a lot of challenges. Had a VA, she did really well. She got my business kind of up and running. I signed a lot of college friends, buddies. Like I said, basically charged nothing just because I wanted to show people I actually knew what I was doing and I was good at it. So until I had like a solid base, a solid book of business to build off of, that's when things kind of kept climbing, especially when I got back from Bali and I did my last prep, because that's when I started using TikTok. TikTok, if you're not on TikTok, for all of you guys, get on it now. That's where I get like 70% of my leads.
Amazing. And then what do you do with your leads on TikTok? Because I know there's no messaging system, so you just funnel them to an application. Do you funnel them?
I just funnel them to Typeform, and then we just do a two-step process call.
Nice.
And sign them immediately.
Good old two-step process, man. Can't go wrong.
Conversion rates like 60%. I run the numbers. I'm an accountant,
Yeah.
I do my own bookkeeping. So
Love it, bro. Love it. Dude, something that you said that I think is very important for people to know and understand is like in the very beginning, like obviously you're a qualified coach. Like you've gone through preps many times yourself. You're in phenomenal shape. When you started your business, you're still taking on clients for free. And this is something that I talked to Will Sage about too. In very similar shoes, when he started his business, he was taking on clients for free. I did the same thing. It's so important to just build your book of business and build your client roster to showcase that you have results. So what was your thought process in the beginning of like, why did you decide that I'm going to take clients on for free? What was the thought process and how did that pay off for you?
Well, I took on clients for free because I knew they would make good progress and I knew they'd actually fucking follow what I gave them. So I used that as leverage for marketing, for my business, for my page. You wouldn't go to a fucking tattoo artist without seeing their book of work, right? You're going to go through and make sure they do a good job. You're going to see all the artwork they've done on so many people. That's basically the same thing with coaching, training, is building people up, whether they're bodybuilders or just lifestyle clients, just want to feel good, look good, be healthy, or want to compete. So I got a mix of all of them. It definitely paid off in the long run for sure. And then also coaching people, influencers with higher followings, tagging me, that worked well too.
Beautiful. I know you just got, actually not just, but I know within the last year you got put on the Iron Willed team, which congrats, by the way. That's absolute fucking dream. Their team is really incredible. What was that process like for you? How did you go about building your social media following? How did you go about building your own personal brand to the point to where you're able to work with a highly valued team?
Dude, it's been fucking tough. I'm not going to lie. Balancing 55 clients, having another coach with 25 clients, and then also, staying on top of Instagram. That's the biggest thing, is consistency. Just like bodybuilding, the algorithm's always changing. It takes time to really kind of hit your niche and find what content works for your audience. It's been tough. I work a lot. I don't take days off because I'm juggling kind of both sides. I don't like to say influencer.
It's a full-time job.
Well, yeah, it's hard, man, because I do coaching. I also have, 3 sponsors I'm working with. I got to keep up with content and also training clients.
That's why I went the coaching route. Very early on. People don't realize that being an influencer, having brands to create content for, push products to, like that is a full-time job in and of itself. And it's like, if you only have so much real estate for posting, what are you going to post about?
Yeah.
You're going to post one post for the sponsor, one post for another sponsor, then a post about your coaching, and it becomes clouded really quickly. It's a good point, but it's also impressive that you're able to balance it as well. What were the other sponsors that you have too? I know you have Iron Willed. Who else?
Research Chem. Yeah. So we're opening up an HRT clinic soon.
Oh shit.
Yeah, we sell a bunch of good stuff. If you want to check it out,
Yeah.
put on
I mean,
all.
shameless plug, bro. We'll put it in here.
And then Alpha Line basic supplements are
Love
taking
it.
off. Yeah, I was one of their first athletes.
Well, I know that you've hit some pretty good milestones lately. You just bought yourself a new car, hit a record month. What's it feel like now to be, at a point to where you can look back and think, man, holy shit, this is like really paying off in a big way?
Pretty surreal, man. Honestly, the biggest piece of advice is just don't give up. The number one reason why people don't succeed or fail is because they don't give it enough time. It was tough for me last year, moving to Bali. Like I saw a huge drop off in revenue. And in terms of clients, I have a really good retention rate because I work very closely with my clients and I do a good job with them. Yeah, I mean, it's been good, man. I just work a lot and I keep my head down. I do my job. And that's basically where and how I've gotten to the point where I'm at right now.
Bali's tough, man, because the time zone is just so far off. Like even if you get into a routine, it's so hard to schedule calls because you're literally at opposite ends of the day.
Yeah, it was tough. Yeah, it was definitely a drop off. And then, well, it was kind of, I was looking at the metrics. It was stabilized. And then I got back, and that's when it really dropped off because I was traveling. I was out of shape. And, when you're in Bali, Indonesia, you can't just go to a market and buy a protein bar. Like all you got is like chocolate bars and fucking cigarettes.
Yep. Yeah. I was in the Philippines. You could always tell where a country is just based off of what they have in the gas stations. You're not going to be able to find any white monsters anywhere near there.
No.
Doesn't exist.
Yeah. So, I mean, I did, and I told Will, I was like, and he warned me. He was like, I mean, you're going to put on extra fat, but I mean, as long as you eat and you're training. I was staying on top of training and I was eating clean for the most part, but I couldn't weigh anything. I couldn't.
Yeah.
So I was just like, okay, I'm just going to eat and grow. And it worked.
Do you have a good time at least? A lot of fun?
Oh yeah, that was an experience of a lifetime. I would do it I would do it again if I could. But the way things are going with business, there's no fucking way.
That's how I'm feeling too now. Like we did a 2-week trip to the Philippines and that was fine. Now we just did a 10-day trip to City, Mexico and Colombia. And by like my 4th day, I'm like, I can't do this. Like I can't.
Yeah, man, I get anxiety when I'm like, I haven't taken like 3 days, like 2 to 3 consecutive days off from like clients or really anything. I'm going to Mexico with Karina, my girlfriend, at the end of June, so June 30th to July 5th. That is the one time I'm going to tell all my clients, like, hey, look, like I need a little reset. Unless you're on competition prep, like just give me some time.
That's good to point out, though. I don't think a lot of people who are starting their businesses realize how deep into the work that you are. I think that it's important to highlight that, like, dude, you don't take time off, you don't take breaks, you are all in on your business, all in on your clients, and I think that's important to highlight. Yeah. Do you have any advice, any tips for people who are getting started on social media, looking to start a coaching business, and go full time?
Yeah, my biggest piece of advice is if you want to be a coach, if you want to be a personal trainer, you got to be passionate about it. Because having 55 clients, training people, it's like a puzzle. Everybody's different. You really got to invest and put in the time with each individual. And you want to be able to retain clients. You don't want a lot of turnover.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I think, what's made me so successful is I've had a lot of clients stick with me throughout my whole journey. Yeah. So just do your work, really. Be good at what you do, be passionate about it. And if you're not, you likely will get burnt out because it's a lot of work. Yeah.
Awesome.
But also use TikTok.
Any tips for TikTok?
Find a niche and stick with it.
Love it.
I really just talk on my TikTok. So people see my personality. I just provide, resourceful, informational stuff to people who are getting into fitness. People like to see personality. The reach on TikTok, it's a little bit different now. And I haven't been posting as much just because I've been so busy. Use that as reach to funnel people to your Instagram, which should be your landing page. All your transformations, all your book of business. And then, they go hand in hand. But you got to use both.
I love it.
Yeah.
Matt, thank you so much for the time. Thank you so much for the tips. I always really love sharing your story because I think that you and I actually have a lot of similarities in the sense that like your parents pushed you to go to college. My parents pushed me to go to college. I jumped ship a little bit earlier than you did, but it's cool that we ended up in the same spot.
Yes, sir. Always
Awesome,
good
brother.
catching up, Zach. Appreciate you, bro.
Real quick, where can people find you online?
Just Matt Arnold Fit, Instagram and TikTok. Yeah.
All right, man. Thank you so much.
All right, brother. Yeah, good catching up.